Nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome to an edition of Necro-Mondays, where we showcase Necromunda Battle Reports every Monday during our Sci-Fi Wargaming Week with our series Anarchy Road. Anarchy Road is a narrative campaign that is a vehicle-based campaign set within the ashways of Necromunda, and this is Battle Report number 71. It is a standoff scenario that is fought between my two friends, Lady Domina as well as Warlord Ace. Lady Domina is bringing the Avid Children, a Helot Chaos Cult gang that is dedicated to Slaanesh, and Warlord Ace is bringing the Neon Knights, a Saar gang. So, just to give you guys a little bit of heads up about this campaign, originally when we put this vehicle-based campaign together for using our homegrown Road Wars rules, campaign rules anyways, we decided to only have 6 gangs originally, the number that was going to play in this one. However, as things started settling down with COVID-19 and, things of that nature, things going back to sense of normalcy, a couple of my other friends wanted to get in on the action on our Anarchy Road campaign, so these are 2 new gangs that have been introduced to it, and so we got to think about a couple more gangs that want to join up in this campaign setting, so it's going to be all kinds of awesome. So because of that, these 2 gangs are brand new, so because we're still in the first round of our campaign, I allowed these guys to come in. And in case you guys forgot, the Neon Knights, that was the name that you guys, my viewers, have voted for my buddy Warlord Ace. Warlord Ace wanted to make a Saar game that had kind of like this synthwave kind of inspired look for them, and he didn't know what to choose for a name. He had like a couple names picked out, but didn't know which one to use, and so we had you guys, the viewers, vote for it, and the Neon Knights was the name that won that one. So with that being said, we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see which each of the gangs are taking for this one, we're going to show you pictures of both gangs as well as the rosters. If you want to check them out, go ahead and pause, take a look at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, so the scenario rules for this one is Standoff. Standoff is your most typical game of gang warfare in the Underhive, and pretty much the rules are exactly the same way as they are in the original rulebook. However, in the Ashways, it's a little bit differently, and the way that is different with the rewards. On the battlefield, there are D3+3 loot counters, which all players will alternate placing upon the battlefield. Each of these loot counters, there's 6 of them in this battle report. They're worth D6 times 5 credits. At the same time, for experience on this one, you get 1 point of experience for each participant, as well as 1 bonus point of experience for each winning gang leader. You also get 2 points of reputation for the winner, as well as 1 point of reputation for each gang fighting against each other for the very first time. And since that is the case, they both get additional point of reputation. However, if a gang bottles out, though, they lose 1 point of reputation. So, with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. Alright, so here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, my friends are playing on a 4x6 table. On the left hand side is Warlord Ace as well as the Neon Knights, and the right hand side is Lady Domina and her Advent Children on this one. So pretty much from my understanding, I got to talk to my friends if the game was over. Pretty much Lady Domina's plan is to use her vehicle to scoot up to the top of the battlefield. She plans on going to the top, securing the loot counters at the well in the upper right hand corner, as well as the loot counter there in the middle of the MCI Chemical Works as well. And she plans on using the vehicles and the rest of the terrain as kind of cover for her main vehicle, the Pulchritudinous. And she's going to have her fighters dismount to select those. And then her plan is to flank around and catch the Neon Knights in kind of a pincer attack is what she's pretty much planning on doing. She does have a heavy stubber located on her vehicle, so she plans on using that to take out his Neotechs on the grav cutters. And that's pretty much her battle plan on this one. For Warlord Ace, his plan is to move just straight towards Lady Domina. Warlord Ace has a last cannon mounted on a turret on his weapon, on his vehicle, what you call it, the Steel Dragon is the name of the vehicle he has on that one. So he plans on just going straight at her and just trying to blow up her vehicle using las cannons. At the same time, he plans on sending as neotechs as well as their grav cutters to the top and bottom of the table to pick up loot counters. He plans on getting the loot counter at the top of the bridge, then the upper left-hand corner, and same thing with the MCI Chemical Works tower in the top center. At the same time, he's sending his 2 of the neotechs to pick up the tower, MCI tower there in the bottom left-hand corner, as well as the ambulance that's overturned in the middle of the table, as well as the other loot counter on the top of the ruined bridge in the bottom center of the battlefield. And that's pretty much what their battle plans are for this one. So the battle plans are, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. Alright, so up first we're going to talk about the Neon Knights, House Van Saar gang, and this is played by my buddy Warlord Ace. So, as you can see, he's got one large vehicle called the Steel Dragon. The Steel Dragon basically contains pretty much the majority of his gang who's not mounted on grav cutters. He has, in that vehicle has a large hull. It's also got an enclosed crew for +2 toughness and +2 wounds. He's got a tool locker for +2 intelligence checks for repairs. He's also got loudspeakers, so that way he can group to activate with 2 other vehicles. He's also got a kill switch upgrade for his engines, so that way his vehicle can't get hijacked. He's got spare tires because the Steel Dragon is mounted on wheels. And he's also got a turret mounted las cannon, which is absolutely scary in that vehicle. In that vehicle, he's got 4 fighters. He has his leader, whose name is Elite Stallone, who is a Van Saar Prime. He's equipped with armored body glove. He's got a combat pistol with las and plasma. He's got a higher straw energy shield. He's also got the gang leader, as well as commanding presence special rules. In that vehicle is also a Van Saar Augmech named Laser Noir. He's armed with an armored body glove. He's got a rad cannon las pistol. He's also got a fighting knife. He's got the munitioneer skill. And also in that vehicle, he's got 2 techs. We have Gamerstorm 83, who is a driver of the vehicle. He's armed with an armored body glove. He's got a las gun and a fighting knife. And then we have Hollywood Combo, who is another Van Saar tech. He's got an armored body glove, las gun, as well as a fighting knife, and he's the gunner in that vehicle as well. And then right next to them, of course, are 4 neotechs. These guys are all equipped exactly the same. Their names are Cobra Hawkins, July High Score, Night Hopper, and Time Volt. All 4 of these guys are neotechs armed with mesh armor, grav cutters, las pistols, as well as fighting knives. And all 4 people have hot-headed as well as fast learner skills. And that pretty much makes the deployment for the Neon Knights. So up next, we have the deployment for the Anvil Children. That vehicle is called the Pulchritudinous, and in case you wonder what Pulchritudinous means what it means, it basically means beautiful is what it is. It is a large type vehicle. It's got the entire gang, and then we have Cathanharok, the Pain Song, Dryrithus, Slyriri, Razorclaw, Dirac, Racklace, Skarar, Ravar, and Slavis. Those names of the characters are inside that vehicle. It is a large vehicle. The whole upgrades have is enclosed crew, so +2 toughness and +2 wounds. It's got weird charms and weird totems for bonuses for psychic abilities. It's also got hull blades to make sure that people don't try to board on board with the boarding spikes, and the hull blades are good for ramming. And it's also got a tool locker for a 2-up bonus for repair checks as well. The vehicle's also got a kill switch on its engine. It's got spare tires because it's a wheel-mounted vehicle, and it has a turret-mounted heavy stubber as well, so pretty cool. So like I said before, on board the vehicle we have a cult demagogue named Cathanharok, the Pain Song. He's equipped with mesh armor. He's got a heavy flamer, auto pistol, and fighting knife. He's got the Devotion, Inure to Insanity, and Commanding Presence special rules. We have Dryrithus, who is a cult disciple, who's armed with mesh armor, heavy stubber, auto pistol, and fighting knife. It's got the Inure to Insanity special rule as well as Nerves of Steel. We have Slyriri, Razorclaw, who is a cult witch. She's armed with mesh armor, chainsword, and auto pistol. She's got the witch special rule as well as Inure to Insanity. She's got the warp strength psychic ability as well as the fixer skill. We have Dirac, who is a Helot Cultist. Dirac's armed with a flak armor. He's got a grenade launcher, frag and crack grenades, auto pistol, fighting knife, as well as a specialist skill. And then we have 4 Helot Cultists. We have Racklace, who's the driver, Skarar, who's the gunner. We have Ravar and Slavis. All 4 of those guys are Helot Cultists. All 4 are armed with flak armor, auto guns, as well as fighting knives. And that makes deployment for the Advent Children. So deployment over with, you go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both of my friends will offer initiative to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1, and Saar managed to get the initiative on this one. So the first thing that my buddy decides to do is a group activation. Warlord Ace activates his leader, who is Elite Stallone, uses his commanding presence ability in order to do his group activation. Using his comm upgrades for his vehicle, he decides to activate two other fighters. Those guys' names are Night Hopper and Time Volt. Sorry, not Night Hopper, sorry. Cobra Hawkins and Time Volt, there we go. They're both Neotechs. The one of the Neotechs goes directly to the top, does a double movement to the top with the MCI Chemical Works on the bottom left-hand corner, while the other Neotech goes to the upper right-hand corner to secure the first loot counter. And then, of course, the gunner of the vehicle, which is a Hollywood Combo, he opens up with the last cannon directly towards the Polkatutinus. And so here's a close-up of, I believe that is July High Score, who's a Neotech. Basically flies to try to get the other loot counter in the upper top left-hand corner of the battlefield. And here's a close-up of Hollywood Combo opening fire with the last cannon, managed to hit the Polkatutinus center of mass, managed to put 3 wounds directly on that vehicle as well. And it's a good thing that the Polkatutinus has a hull upgrade for enclosed crew because it's got a higher toughness as well as higher wound count. So it's got 5 wounds left before it starts, losing points off its toughness and hopefully not wrecking the hull on that part. So from there we go directly towards the Avid Children. Lady Dama then activates Cathanharok the Pain Song. Her cult demagogue uses his commanding presence ability to do a couple of actions. First of all, he actually has the driver Racklace take the vehicle and do 2 simple movements. One to turn 45 degrees, another simple movement to go right behind the ambulance to take partial cover behind that ambulance as well. At the same time, the gunner Skarar opens up with his heavy stubber directly into Time Volt, which is the Neotech who went up to the upper left-hand corner. While that's occurring, of course, at the same time, Slavis, the Helot Cultist, he basically bails out, does a basic action to get out of the vehicle, and a simple action move up his normal movement allowance, heading directly towards the well in the upper right-hand corner to secure that loot counter. Now, at the same time, Skarar, the gunner, managed to hit Time Volt with the heavy stubber, but unfortunately for him, though, he does fail to wound. So because of that, the Neotech is just basically pinned right now. He's just laying on the ground. And the interesting thing about these guys, because they're running grav cutters, if they get pinned and they have to stand up again, it takes a double action for them to get back up. This represents the fact that the Neotech has to get back on the grav cutter, start it up, and move on like that. So the rest of the turn is pretty much dedicated to House Saar on this one. Pretty much what ends up happening is that the driver GamerStar83 does a double move forward, move up forward 16 inches, heading directly towards the Polkatutinus. At the same time, it's also being flanked by both Cobra Hawkins as well as Night Hopper, which the other 2 Neotechs will also do double movements forward as well. And for the rest of the turn, Lady Dama takes the rest of her unactivated Chaos Cultists, including her Cult Witch. They all take intelligence checks in order to start making some rapid repairs real quick to the Polkatutinus. Manage to heal up 2 of its wounds, so it's only carrying 1 wound right now. And that pretty much ends turn number 1 on this one. So here's the end of turn number 1 on this so far in this battle report. As you can see, things are looking pretty good right now for both sides. Pretty much Lady Dama decided to take cover behind that ambulance, that way she doesn't get shot at anymore with that last cannon that's mounted on the Steel Dragon. At the same time, you can see that the Neotechs from the Saar are actually starting to break out the flanks, heading directly towards those loot counters on either side. At the same time, Lady Dama is doing exactly the same thing, sending Skarar over to the well in the upper right hand corner. So with turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 2, and both of my friends roll off for priority to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2, and the Helot Chaos Cultists get to go first on this turn. So once again, Lady Dama decides to activate Cathanharok the Pain Song, and then uses his commanding presence ability to do a group activation for the vehicle real quick. So real quick, Racklace, the driver, he does a double movement directly to the top of the where the MCI Chemical Work Tower is located in the center of the battlefield. At the same time, a couple of fighters bail out as well. We have Ravar, who is a Chaos Helot Cultist, who popped up to the top left-hand side there and making her way to the chemical tanks. At the same time, Dryrithis, the cult disciple armed with heavy stubber, bails out, and same thing with Dirac, a Helot Cultist armed with a grenade launcher. Both those guys also take shots. I believe it is Dryrithis, however, can't shoot because she's packing heavy stubber. However, Dirac opens up with a crack grenade. Unfortunately for him, though, he misses his shot, and to make matters worse, he also rolled an ammo check And because we have the beg, borrow, and steal special rules for our campaign, whenever you have a weapon that has an ammo check that's not from the actual Ash Wastes trading post list, your ammo roll automatically becomes a 6-up. This represents the fact that ammunition is kind of hard to come by out in the Ash Wastes, so things are not looking very good right now for Dirac. Meanwhile, July High Score, which is one of the Neotechs, actually says a double movement to go directly to the top of the bridge and secure first of the ammo counters, the loot counters for the Van Saar. And my friend Warlord Ace does a group activation with that using the comm system in order to get July High Score to move up, and also gets Nighthopper to also move up with them. Nighthopper goes directly to the top of the Ruined Ambulance, so we can double movement there in order to secure the second loot counter. At the same time, the driver, Gamerstorm83, does a double movement forward as well, and also at the same time, the gunner, Hollywood Combo, takes a turn and turns it to the left to open fire with the last cannon once again, and opens fire directly at Lady Domina's Avon children. So because of that, the shot goes off and hits directly into Dry-Rithis is what ends up happening on that one. My friends kind of made a mistake on this one, but I'll explain that what ended up happening here in a second. For whatever reason, my friend Lady Dama thought that Dry-Rithis originally only had 1 wound on her, is what he originally thought, because she forgot she was a cult disciple. She actually has 2 wounds on her. So what she have right now is 2 wounds, 1 flesh wound, and a serious injury is what she basically has. She goes crashing face down on the ground and starts bleeding out for the most part, is what she's kind of doing. Now, luckily for my friend Lady Dama, though, Cthulhu the Pain Song takes a panic check by taking his cool check. He's cool 5 up, so because of that, everybody else in the gang is perfectly fine, because nothing shakes a Chaos Cultist, not even when their friends are dying. Meanwhile, for Lady Dama's next activation, she activates Slavis, her Helot Cultist, who does a double movement to the top of the tower on the well, and manages to secure her first loot counter as well. Meanwhile, Cobra Hawkins, a Neotech, does a double movement directly to the base of the MCI Metro Chemical Works in order to start making their way towards the water tower. And for the rest of her activation, Lady Dama has her unactivated gangers just do a really quick repair check for the Pulchritudinous. The Pulchritudinous is pretty much healed up. At the same time, she does try to open fire with her heavy stubber, fired by Skrar, which is the weapons mounted on the turret there. Unfortunately for her, though, it only is a strength 4 weapon. It does nothing against the Steel Dragon, because the Steel Dragon's got toughness 8, which means that Lady Dama has to roll 6s in order to wound that vehicle. And for Warlord of Ace's very last activation, he does activate Time Volt, his other Neotech that got pinned earlier, who does a double action in order to get back on her feet again because of the Grab Cutter special rules on that one as well. So with the action phase over with, they go directly to the end phase. And during the end phase, this is where my friends realized they made a mistake on the rules. I noticed this pretty quickly on that one. She rolled another flesh wound, so she thought, okay, her fighter goes out of action. However, I then remind her that Dry-Rithis, her cult disciple, actually has 2 wounds. And once they figured that out, they realized, oh, that's right, she's not down and out. So what they decided to do instead was to roll again. So what they ended up doing is, because she has another flesh wound, she gets back up on her feet again. She has 2 flesh wounds now. And so because of that, she's only toughness 1 now. So if she gets hit one more time with another flesh wound, she'll go out of action for the most part. And that pretty much makes up the end phase for turn number 2. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield at the end of turn number 2. As you can see, things are not looking very good right now for the Chaos Cultists. Pretty much they're being chased around the entire time. Lady Dama's pretty much lost the initiative on this battle. Basically, she's just reacting to what Warlord Ace is doing to her for the most part. At the same time, the Van Saar are moving very, very quickly, securing loot counters, as well as using that last cannon to great effect, just badgering the Pulchritudinous with last cannon shots. So with the turn number 2 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 3, and my friends roll off for priority to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 3 for the Helot Chaos Cultists, and this photo is taken after the very first of the activation phase. Once again, Lady Dama does do a group activation with Cthulhu the Pain Song, uses Commanding Presence ability in order to activate certain fighters. First of all, the driver, which is a Racklace, he basically does double movement to go around the outside the MCI Chemical Tower to take cover, so that I'm getting shot with last cannon fire. At the same time, Ravar, which is the Helot Chaos Cultist, does a double movement up the ladder directly to the top of the water tower, trying to climb up that way in order to secure the very first of the the very first of the loot counters are located up there. At the same time, Dryrythis as well as Dirac. Dirac tries to does another ammo check. Unfortunate for him though, doesn't roll a 6, so he can't shoot this turn. And Dryrythis opens up with their heavy stubber. Unfortunately, doesn't cause any damage to the Steel Dragon. Once again, the Steel Dragon is toughness 8, and the heavy stubber only does strength 4 weaponry on that part. So things not looking very good right now for that little fire team there. On the other side of the table, Warlord Ace does a group activation with his leader, Elite Stallone, who does a group activation with Nighthopper. Nighthopper then goes directly to the Double Moon, directly to the top of the bridge fragment there, making her way to the top, so that way she can secure the second loot count up there on the top. At the same time, the driver, Gamerstorm 83, moves up a normal moon allowance, so that way they can get with a better range of the target of the Pulchritudinous. And then finally, for the last activation, the gunner, Hollywood Combo, opens up the last cannon directly into Dirac, the specialist is armed with a grenade launcher from the Chaos Cultists. And with a massive bright explosion and vaporization, pretty much Dirac goes out of action. Luckily for Lady Dama though, she did roll out cold for that character, so because of that he makes a full recovery no problem. And luckily for Lady Dama as well, Dryrythis, her cult disciple, passed her panic check by having a successful cold check on that one, so she's pretty much fine on that part. Meanwhile, in the top right hand corner of the battlefield, Slavis secures the very first of the ammo loot counters for the Advent Children. And for the rest of the turn, it's pretty much just primarily Warlord Ace's rest of the turn for the most part, because most of the members of the gang are pretty much activated for the most part. So the first thing that will end up happening is that Cobra Hawkins, who is the Neotech, does a double movement directly at the top of the water tower right there, facing off against Ravar. At the same time, July High Score also does a double move forward or to the water tank or to catch up. And I also made a mistake earlier. I said that they drove up forward in the vehicle. I made a mistake on that part. Elite Stallone only commanded the gunner, Hollywood Combo, to open fire. Now for this next turn, Gamerstorm 83, the driver, does a simple action to turn 45 degrees, so that way they can hit directly towards the MCI chemical work, and does another simple action moving forward. Looks like she plans on ramming into Dryrythis with that vehicle, which would be all kinds of awesome. And finally, Time Vault does a simple action to go directly to the top of the MCI tower, and another simple action in order to secure the loot counter for their gang. And that pretty much makes it the turns for this one. Alright, so that takes us directly to the end of turn number 3. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, the Vansar are cleaning house by just using those grab cutters to great effect, swooping in and grabbing loot counters left and right. At the same time, Lady Dominus pretty much taking cover with her vehicle, the Pulchritudinous, to make sure it doesn't get shot up by that last cannon. And at the same time, Warlord Ace is moving up. The Steel Dragon will go after him, so that way they can open fire with that last cannon, hopefully destroy her vehicle. So with that being said, with turn number 3 over with, you go directly to the top of turn number 4, and my friends roll off for priority to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 4 for the Helot Chaos Cultists. And so Lady Dama, the first thing she does, she activates her cult disciple, Dryrythis. Dryrythis does a double movement directly to the chemical tanks there, moving up close to the chemical tanks, and a second one to climb to the top of it in order to take cover, just because she was aware that Warlord Ace was planning on ramming her cult disciple with that vehicle, the Steel Dragon. And according to Warlord Ace, he told me after the game that he was planning on running her over, and she didn't get her out of the way. So pretty smart move there for my friend Lady Domina. However, Warlord Ace goes next, and then he activates Cobra Hawkins. So let's go and talk about Cobra Hawkins real quick. So Cobra Hawkins, the Neotech, he does a simple action to move his vehicle, move his grav cutter off of the water tower down below directly to that chemical tank. Now, because of that, you have this swipe attack that the grav cutter can do when it moves over enemy miniatures. Whenever you move over an enemy miniature, basically you can just do like a little attack to make it look like the grav cutter hit that person. And in this case, what ended up happening is that Cobra Hawkins did exactly that. He has to pass a successful attack, like he's attacking close combat, weapon skill 5, rolled a 6 on that one, managed to hit Ravar. And it's a strength 4 -1 AP hit is when it ends up happening when you get hit with that, and it has knockback ability as well. So because that Ravar gets wounded, and luckily for my friend Lady Dama that she buzzed past her initiative test, so Ravar does stay on the top of the water tower. However, that hit went right through her armor save, and when they rolled to see exactly what happened to it, rolled a grievous injury, went out of action on that part. So because that Ravar goes in recovery at the end of the scenario. To make matters worse, because that grab attack is only a simple action, Cobra Hawkins has another action afterwards, which case is a basic action, takes his last pistol, opens up directly into the back of Dryrithus, the cult disciple. Because it's got a +2 to hit because it's close range, was able to hit that shot, was also easily wounded because Dryrithus is only toughness 1 at this point, even though it's a strength 3 weapon. Still, don't roll a 1, you'll still wound that character. And put the final wound on her. What ended up happening is that Dryrithus rolled a flesh wound, and because it's her very last flesh wound, she automatically goes out of action. Luckily for Lady Dama, it's an out cold result, so she goes, makes a full recovery, no problem. But 2 fighters just like that taken down by the same Neotech. And at the same time, Cobra Hawkins earned himself a nice little handful of experience points by taking out a champion as well as a ganger, so that part was insane. So not to be outdone, Lady Dama does a group activation with Cathan Harak, the Pain Song, who does a group activation with the driver Rackless and the gunner Skarar for the Pulchritudinous. The Pulchritudinous moves up its normal movement allowance 8 inches and also kind of takes a 45-degree angle for the next simple action, so that way it's got a good line of sight directly into the other Neotech. I believe that is July High Score. And then Skarar, the gunner, opens up with the Heavy Stubber, manages to hit July High Score. Unfortunately though, does manage to hit the Neotech, but fails to wound for the most part. And the reason why is because that Neotech is packing a mesh armor on that one. So, does manage to hit him once, but the Neotech rolls a 6 with armor save, so he's just currently pinned right now. So, things are not looking very good right now for the Advent Children. And pretty much the rest of the turn is dedicated to Warlord Ace for the most part. So, first of all, Nighthopper does a double action to go directly to the top of the that bridge fragment there, secures his second loot counter. At the same time, Time Volt also does exactly the same thing, does a double action to go directly to the ground floor, just jumping off the roof, and because he's got a grav cutter, doesn't have to worry about any fall damage. And lastly, Hollywood Combo, who's the gunner for the Steel Dragon, takes his last cannon, turns open fire directly into the Pulchritudinous. Once again, managed to hit the Pulchritudinous, and at the same time putting 3 wounds on that vehicle as well. So with the action phase over with, we go directly to the end phase. And unfortunately for my friendly Dama, she does have to take a bottle test. And unfortunately for her though, she fails that bottle test. So because of that, the Advent Children decide to heli on and to vacate and to escape the Ash Waste with whatever survivors they have left. And there you have it, folks. That takes directly to the end of the game with a victory for Van Saar of the Neon Knights for their very first battle reports. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go directly to the after action report and post game because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so now it's time for the after action report with the post game for the Helot Chaos Cult, the Advent Children. So for the injuries, they actually suffered 3 injuries for this one. We have Dryrithus, Dirac, as well as Ravar. Dryrithus and Dirac both get out cold results. They make full recoveries, no problem. However, Ravar suffers a grievous injury, so she will miss out her next battle report as well. For advancements, none of the members of this gang advance at this time. However, during the Dark Ritual, though, they do select Skarar, who is randomly chosen to be the vessel for the Dark Ritual. They actually successfully pass that Dark Ritual. Skarar earns 4 points of experience. At the same time, they gain the favor of Slanesh for the next battle report as well, which means that for that favor, they can activate 2 fighters with a group activation every turn, which is actually pretty good for the Advent Children. From their territories, from their Wasteland territory, they only sent 2 fighters out to go look, 3 fighters to go look for supplies in the Wastelands. And the reason why is because the rest of the gang decided to use intelligence checks in order to repair their vehicle. So the Pulchritudinous is back to maximum wounds again, and during the savaging of the Wastelands, they managed to scavenge up 27 credits. Now at the trading post, they earned 15 credits from the 1 loot crate they were able to secure. They also earned 30 credits from Slyriri Ranger Claw's Fixer skill. She earns D3 times 10 credits at the end of each battle report. And when combined with the 27 credits from the mineral outcroppings, that gives them a grand total of 72 credits in total. With those 72 credits, they spend 40 credits in order to feed the gang, so that way they can avoid starvation rules, and they put the remaining 32 credits directly into the stash. For the reputation, they earn 1 point reputation from fighting against the Neon Knights for the very first time, but because the gang bottled out, they lose that point reputation. Their new record now is at 0 wins and 1 loss, and their new gang rating now is at 1,995 points. Alright, so let's go and talk about the Neon Knights real quick. So, for the Neon Knights, they actually suffered no injuries, and none of the members of the gang advanced during this time. From their territories, from their wasteland, they actually sent all the gangers out to go look for stuff, and they found a mineral outcropping, earning 21 credits from that wasteland territory. At the same time, they also captured a Guilder contact territory for winning the scenario, which means they earn D6 times 5 creds every round. At the same time, however, if they ever sell loot counters to their Guilder contact, they earn an additional D3 times 5 credits for that as well, which is really good for them because they managed to secure 5 loot crates. So during the trading post, they sold those 5 loot crates for 85 credits, and they earned additional 65 credits using their Guilder contact, which gave them a whole grand total of 196 credits in total when combined that with their territories. With those 196 credits, they spent 40 credits for starvation to make sure that their gang doesn't starve, so they're good there. At the same time, Warlord Ace spent 150 credits buying 3 High Star energy shields for Cobra Hawkins' July high score, as well as Nighthopper, and he took the other 6 credits and put it directly into the stash. For the reputation, earn 1 point reputation for fighting against the Advent Children for the very first time, and they also earn 2 points reputation in the scenario, giving a grand total of 3 points reputation in total. Their new record now is at 1 win and 0 losses, and the new gang rating now is at 2,148 points. So that's a good deal for this one, you guys. For Anarchy Road, Necromunda Battle Report number 71. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for the latest, greatest news related to our channel. That's a good deal for this one, you guys. I'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.